Directive 8020 is a cinematic sci-fi horror game set on a damaged colony ship, so if you like Dead Space, this one should be right up your alley. But there's no native macOS version, sadly, so you'll need to use workarounds to run it on Mac. I tested a bunch of valid solutions for this game, and will now talk about them as well as give you some tips on how to get the best experience possible. But before you choose which one you want, you'll have to buy the game. To help you, we'll leave links in the description to where you can purchase it, and we'll also add links to discounts when such are available. Now let's get to the ways to play it. Here are the two methods that gave us best results. The first one is called Boosteroid, and it's the cheapest cloud gaming service that's actually any good. This is the most plug-and-play solution that we found. The main draw of Boosteroid and cloud gaming in general is that your machine doesn't matter so long as you can supply it with around 40 megabits of stable internet. You can crank up everything to max even in 4K, and you should be more than fine. Boosteroid is a strong fit for Directive 8020 because this is a modern Unreal Engine horror game with expensive lighting, dark interiors, and a lot of cinematic detail. Instead of asking your Mac to brute force that locally, you stream it from a remote Windows machine. That means you can aim for a clean, high-quality presentation without worrying about translation layer overhead syncing your performance. In my personal test over a 70 megabit wireless internet, the streaming quality was very good at 4K, and there were very few instances of noticeable lag or image compression. Of course, you do need decent internet for this. If your connection drops, you'll notice compression in dark scenes and camera movement before anything else, so I recommend at least 40 megabits for 1080p streams and 60 for 4K. Still, for most Mac users, Boosteroid is the simplest way to just play the game with the least setup drama. All you have to do to start gaming is follow the link in the description, register for the service, and buy a subscription. Then just search for the game and click play. It's all pretty easy, but we have a how-to tutorial if you need it, and an overview of the service if you want something more in-depth to make up your mind. Crossover is hands down the best non-cloud method to play Windows games on Mac in 2026. It will give you the ability to play anywhere you want without internet limitations, and scales better with newer Macs. But you're not going to get anywhere near the graphical fidelity or performance you'll have with cloud solutions. Crossover is, without a doubt, the best local route for this game. For an Unreal 5 engine game, 8020 ran reasonably well on my M3 Max MacBook Pro with 36 gigs. At 1080p high settings, with upscaling set on quality, I got around 60 FPS on average with the current Crossover build. Certainly playable and smooth enough, but you can tell that this is a heavy game and that some performance is lost in translation. I'd say that the minimum Mac model required to properly run this game in Crossover is an M2 Pro with 16 gigabytes, and you'd need to lower the settings quite a bit to get decent FPS. So for this method, the use cases are limited by the specs of your Mac, but that is not to say it's not a good solution. It's actually pretty good, and it's the second option I recommend the most. Also, with this method, you can use mods for single-player games, and there's a 14-day free trial. To use Crossover, click the link in the description, enter your email, and download the app. Then, after you install Crossover, you must click the Try Now option for the 14-day trial. If you need a longer tutorial, visit our video on that. Just note that the experience with Crossover can sometimes vary between updates, so don't be surprised if it suddenly starts to break the game. If this happens, check our site for the detailed instructions, or you'll have to research this on your own. Now, here are a couple of practical in-game tweaks that will help improve local performance or reduce image compression if you choose to stream it from the cloud. Directive 8020 leans hard on lighting, so don't chase the fanciest settings first. Set global illumination, shadow quality, and reflection quality to medium. That should help most in moody interiors, panic scenes, and areas with lots of reflective metal. Also set motion blur and film grain to 0 because these are most likely to muddy the image if you are streaming the game and your internet isn't very fast. The other methods are a variation of this theme. GeForce Now is the best cloud solution with all the bells and whistles, but at double the price of Boosteroid, it's just not worth it, except for a handful of games which can use the latest and greatest effects. Like Boosteroid, it's very easy to use. You just need to register, get a subscription, download its app, and start the game from it. xCloud is Microsoft's cloud solution, and it's by far the worst of the cloud solutions mentioned here, but it comes with the benefit of being free if you subscribe to Game Pass. Sikarugir is the free DIY version of Crossover. It works great when it works, but it's more inconsistent, less intuitive, and has a lengthy setup. As for the setup, you first need to install Homebrew, then Sikarugir itself, then Steam, and then the actual game. The process takes a bit more time compared to the other methods here, and so is beyond the scope of this video. For detailed guidance on how to set up Sikarugir, just click the respective video in the description and it will show you exactly what to do. Here's how I'd choose between the options. Boosteroid is the easy recommendation if you want the least friction. It supports the game, runs everything remotely, and offers the best price to value ratio out of the cloud solutions I've covered here. It makes the most sense if you just want to start playing without compatibility research. GeForce Now is the premium cloud pick with all the bells and whistles, so if you want the best quality streaming with up to 5K and 240 FPS, go GFN. Just note that this is also one of the pricier cloud options out there. Xbox Cloud Gaming is the console-style route. It is useful if you are already subscribed to Game Pass because you get it for free with a Game Pass subscription. If you are okay with playing the game with a controller, there's no mouse and keyboard support for it, it's an okay solution, but it is not the first option I'd pick because the streaming image quality is inferior to that of Boosteroid or GFN. Crossover is for local play. The upside is lower latency and no internet requirement once installed. The downside is hardware limitations because Directive 8020 is new and heavy, so you'll need a decently powerful Mac to run it with satisfying performance. Sikarugir is the free DIY lane, which means it requires more effort and time on your end to set everything up. It can work just as well as Crossover, but I'd only recommend it if you've got patience, free time, and at least some experience with alternative methods like it. Ultimately, my simple take is Boosteroid is the most straightforward option for the biggest number of users, and Crossover is great if you want to play the game locally. Each of the other methods has some meaningful advantages, but these two are the ones I consider the most balanced. So these were the best methods for playing this game. If you want to explore more popular gaming titles you can play on your Mac, check the videos that should now appear on your screen, or simply browse through our channel. Also, if you found this content helpful, we'd greatly appreciate it if you liked the video and subscribe to our channel. Take care and see you in the next one.